Good evening, my name is Liam Thorpe.
And I'm Michael Mambo.
Now, I must firstly say thank you to Mr. Mambo for joining us. You're not too well today, are you?
Yeah, I've got flu, unfortunately.
But it's still important to you to get in to present Team Talk, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. It's going to be a big match coming up this weekend, so I wouldn't want to miss that.
Was it also because you thought I might be bad-mouthing Arsenal and you weren't there to defend them?
Not really. It's because I enjoy doing what I do, and therefore I'll be there.
Okay, and he's got the scarf on, so he's keeping warm. That's the main thing. Firstly, let's have a look at all the results from last weekend's Barclays Premier League. Okay, Mike, well, that was a full-on weekend of football. I just want to ask you about a couple of results. Great game, Newcastle beating Southampton 4-2. Newcastle starting to come back into form. Do you think it's the French players making the difference?
Yes, it's the French players making the difference, and it always picks up all the other players when you've got new additions who are not only new, but they're also very good as well.
And very cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was times when people were worried about Newcastle near the relegation zone. Do you not see that as a problem now?
It's not a problem now. With the current form they're in, they will make it.
Okay, we saw the league leaders, Manchester United, very comfortable win against QPR. Some people thought maybe that was a slightly difficult game, but it seems like United are just rising to every challenge now, aren't they?
They've stepped up another notch. The mark of a champion is being able to win when you're not playing well, and they've managed to do that all season. It's only now that they're actually starting to play well.
Okay, and on Monday night we saw one of the games of the weekend. West Ham must have thought that they'd done enough to get a draw against Spurs, but who was it again? That man, Gareth Bale. We talk about him every week, but can we now call him world class?
He is world class. Gareth Bale on his own, he's managed to get Tottenham 15 points. Without Gareth Bale, they'll be on, I think it's 9th position.
There you go, and that's not even a striker, is it, you know? And Gareth Bale has been recognised, quite rightly, as has his manager. So Andre Villas-Boas has picked up the Barclays Premier League Manager of the Month, and Gareth Bale has picked up Player of the Month. So it's good times for Spurs. Probably the biggest game of last weekend was Manchester City against Chelsea. Turned out to be quite a comfortable win for Man City, 2-0. But just before City scored, almost about 5 minutes before, Chelsea missed a penalty. Do you think if Chelsea had scored that, they could have gone on to get a result?
Not really. Having watched the match, Chelsea didn't threaten that much. They were not convinced that they could actually win the match.
And what about City? Is it just second place for them, or will that give them some belief that they can close that 12-point gap?
Well, as Arsene Wenger said, even second place is up for grabs. The only guaranteed place so far is first, which Manchester are currently sitting on. Okay,
and this is what I really wanted to ask you. Last weekend saw what was sort of a mini goal of the season competition happen. Yeah. There was so many good goals. I've narrowed it down to top 3, and I want you to pick a winner. We've got Dimitar Berbatov with a great strike on the volley for Fulham against Stoke. We've got Manchester United's Rafael da Silva with a thunderous volley against QPR, and we've got Papis Cisse with his 20-yard absolute screamer against Southampton.
Well, I would have to pick the Cisse goal.
I thought you might do. I thought you might. It was a great goal, but
yeah, it was a great goal, straight from the keeper, and one bounce. Next, it's at the back of the net.
Just how hard is it to make that kind of connection and then make it go in as well?
Well, I've never been a professional footballer for that fact. And the sport I excelled in was hockey. Okay. I assume it is very, very hard and difficult.
Okay, well that was last weekend. What about this weekend? It's come round all too quickly, and we've got a bit of a big one on Sunday that we'll get round to. But first up, I wanted to ask you about Chelsea. They take on West Brom at home, and you would have thought that would be quite an easy result no offence to West Brom, but Chelsea should overpower them at home. But there's been a lot of issues this week with Chelsea, and Rafa Benitez in particular. After Chelsea won in the FA Cup in midweek against Middlesbrough, Benitez came out in a press conference and basically had a go at the fans and said the fans, by booing him and by making banners about him, they're bringing the rest of the team down. Do you think that was a fair comment?
It was a fair comment. When you're a manager of a club, you expect the fans to back you. They may not like you, but they're fans, not of the manager, but of the club. He's there, he's an employee of the club, he's there to do a job. And if you're booing him, it doesn't go down well with the players playing as well.
Benitez also made a comment that he has not been helped by the fact that Chelsea have given him the title of interim manager, not just manager. And that has made people think that he's just a sort of make-weight, he's just there for the time being. But I mean, that is the case, isn't it? Is that a fair name to give him, or would you agree with him?
I agree with Benitez 100%. He's there to do a job, and once you call him interim, even the players don't put as much because they just know you're there temporarily. Yeah,
okay, well, we'll see what happens. Benitez, interestingly, has said he will be leaving in May. Some people thought he'd be leaving before then, after his rant, but he will be leaving in May, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens then. Manchester United, of course, their manager does not need to worry about his job whatsoever, and they take on Norwich at home, and if he plays, it will be a certain Ryan Giggs' 1,000th football appearance in all competitions. Just a word about Giggs and his legendary status.
Well, I don't think any player will ever achieve that, because it's quite remarkable, and to be at the same club for so long. Even Alex Ferguson himself said it's quite rare.
And Giggs has just been rewarded with a new one-year contract, and it's not just a sort of, rewarding him because he's been there so long. He is still providing a valuable service to United, isn't he?
He is an exceptional player. Probably the way he looks after himself helped him a lot by not drinking alcohol.
Does a bit of yoga, I believe. That'll help.
Yoga and is it mischief with the women?
Mischief with the women. Well, we could get in all sorts of trouble there, so I'll move swiftly on. Okay, what about potential banana skin for Man City away to Aston Villa? Now, Aston Villa pushed Arsenal quite close last weekend, didn't they? And do you think they could get a result at home against City?
No chance. City have got enough firepower to go past them easily.
Okay, so easy win for City. And United, are you going for an easy win at home?
Easy win at home for United.
Chelsea as well? Are you going to break the duck or go for 3 easy wins?
Chelsea, West Brom, it depends which West Brom comes up. If it's the West Brom for early on in the season, then it's going to be hard. And yeah, probably a draw for that one.
Okay, draw for that one. Well, as we know, there's usually a big game on a Sunday of a Premier League weekend, and there is no exception this weekend. It's one that Mike will have a potentially close eye on. It's the North London derby. High-flying Tottenham Hotspur entertain Arsenal. That's a tough game for you boys.
Yeah, very, very tough.
What is the sort of mentality that Arsene Wenger will go into this one with? Because we know he's not really a manager who sets his stall out and tries to defend and nick a 1-0 win. Are they just going to have to play Arsenal football and see where it takes them?
I don't think he's ever set up Arsenal to play any other way. Therefore, they're going to try and go and win the match by playing the Arsenal football. But lately, Swansea is playing the Arsenal football, so I don't know what football they're going to play.
And what about Gareth Bale? Is it worthwhile trying to put 2 men on him? Is that going to help?
It's not going to help. You can put the whole team on him. It's not going to help. That's how good he is now.
Okay, the Premier League Facebook site put up these stats before, which is, they're calling it Gareth Bale versus Theo Walcott. And interestingly, everyone would have obviously said Gareth Bale's had the better season, but Bale scored 15 goals, Walcott scored 11, and Walcott's got more assists. So, he's been an influential player for Arsenal. Is he the key to you doing well?
Walcott is the key to this match as well as Wilshere. But at the end of the day, pound for pound, squad for squad, Tottenham seem to be in a better position than Arsenal.
Okay, and of course Arsenal will be taking on Bayern Munich again in the Champions League. Is that going to be playing on their minds, you know, the disappointment of that result, or do these players, are they able to just sort of put it away to one side and forget about it until it comes around again?
I should assume as professionals they'll be able to forget about it, but once you get a thrashing like that, it's kind of like an itchy back. It takes time to get rid of.
And to the same extent, Manchester United, I mean, obviously they all say, you know, we focus on each game at a time, but they're playing Real Madrid on Tuesday. It's hard to focus on Norwich, surely.
Well, they're not just playing Real Madrid on Tuesday, they are playing an inform.
Yes.
Straight out of thrashing Barcelona, Real Madrid. Nonetheless, as we saw when they went at the Bernabeu, Manchester can hold their own.
Okay, well, of course, we'll be having a proper preview to Manchester United against Real Madrid on our show on Monday. But for now, though, it's bye from a slightly under the weather Michael Mambo.
It's bye from an always fit younger Liam.
Not always, not always. Not after a weekend of drinking, anyway. And we'll see you again on Monday. Take care.